Change is such a scary thing. We try to prepare for it, embrace ourselves for the brunt of the impact. But when it actually comes, we're almost never ready. It just hits us dead on like a truck. And that's terrifying. Change can be very terrifying. And something I've especially noticed that our fear of change is heightened is in the world of technology. Because for as long as I can remember, and before that I'm sure, people have always been so scared of technological advancements and the impact that those advancements may or may not have on them. And yeah, there is truth to the concerns about overexposure to a lot of the technology that we see today. Excessive time on smartphones increases risk of high blood pressure, obesity, low HDL cholesterol, the good one, diabetes, impaired ability to regulate stress, poor bone density, and vision problems. But these aren't necessarily new things. I mean, these concerns have existed in some capacity for a long time. Because history tends to repeat itself, and humans will always be humans. When TVs first came onto the scene in the 1900s, there were warnings to the public about the dangers of overexposure to TV. Social scientists put forth the hypothesis that the programs on air would dumb people down and rot the minds of children. A whole new generation would become mindless automatons, the experts said. Sound familiar? In the 1970s, it was computers that had everyone freaked. In the 2000s, smartphones were the top of conversations revolving around technological panic. I remember in the 2010s when people were losing it over the idea of us being watched through our phones and our laptop cameras, and harmless apps possibly containing surveillance features. Every social media site and app was unsafe, and people still say so to this day. And when something new comes along, we get so scared. And it makes perfect sense. I mean, we don't know anything about this new thing that has suddenly grasped the attention of hundreds and thousands and millions of people. And we carry this innate distrust at anything that's unfamiliar that we come across. And the urge to protect ourselves and others around us takes over. And today, it honestly feels like that new thing that everyone's scared of is TikTok. I mean, there's that ban that's still on the table, it seems. And there's the exploitation of too many marginalized communities. And there's too much misinformation spread about things that we need to be correctly informed on. There's power-hungry people who will stop at nothing and hurt anyone just for a little bit of attention on that app. And when it comes to artistry, there's too many artists that are not receiving the proper credit for the work they've done. And yet, for some reason, I still feel the need to play devil's advocate for this platform. And not for the reasons I mentioned before, but because I think there is something to know about the influence that this app has, specifically when it comes to the music industry. The way that we search for and the way that we listen to music have changed recently, as well as the way that music is written and produced and promoted. And a lot of these changes, I feel, can be heavily attributed to TikTok in some way. A lot of songs recently tend to be shorter than what we're used to, and lyrically people say that they lack substance. And it feels like a lot of these songs don't matter unless they're attached to some big viral moment. But are these inherently bad things? I mean, is the change that social media brought into so many different industries mean that those industries are rotting from the inside out? Is the modern music industry going down in flames? I honestly don't think so. And in this video, I want to go into these changes that TikTok has brought into music, and hopefully try to convince you that change is nothing to be scared of. Before getting into the musical changes that have occurred, I think it's important to look at artist promotion and see the impact that TikTok has had on that. And to do that, we're going to go to a time when TikTok wasn't even around. In the mid to late 2010s, it felt like YouTube was the hub for music artists. There were Vivo music videos for artists signed to major labels, and independent artists built their entire channels around covers. It felt like YouTube cultivated a space for artists big and small to share their work, with this video element to boost creativity and add a more vulnerable or personable value to the work. Artists could share videos without needing a label's overhead and financial access. When I was a child, I was an aspiring artist, and YouTube felt like the perfect place to get that started. I'd even uploaded a few covers on my own, inspired by artists I loved like Dodie and Chloe Moriando. But something about that platform felt extremely inaccessible to me. I mean, yeah, anyone could do insane numbers there with any camera and mic setup that they had. But to be trending on the front page, That took levels of editing, lighting, and money that many beginner artists just did not have. It was very disheartening to me to see so many people make it on YouTube with levels of stuff that I just didn't have access to. And if you had access to those things and the time to spare, you're going to at least upload full song covers, 3 minutes or more. But that TikTok difference? Someone can set up their phone in a stairwell or in a bathroom with great acoustics and post a 30-second song cover, and they could be looking at 1 million likes and triple that in views almost overnight. Engage with your fans enough, post consistently enough, participate in the monthly, weekly, daily trends that occur, and you just started your music career. Artists like Tiny Habits or Olivia Rodrigo and so many more were skyrocketed into fame through the reach of this app. But what is it about TikTok that fostered this sort of environment? How does this shift from YouTube to TikTok as an entertainment hub even occur?
So much to look at in a short amount of time that the audience can be like, oh, this is what this is about, this is great, this looks nice, this sounds nice, etc. So there's just so much there for you to consume that you don't have to like wait 5+ minutes to finally get in a YouTube video. So I think that's what the main selling point for a lot of TikToks are. You don't have to go to YouTube and be like, okay, let me fast forward to 2 minutes 30 seconds. So I guess TikTok is useful for that as well, to the general audience.
Just encourage creativity, man. I don't know, the same way that YouTube in 2006 encouraged creativity, so did TikTok.
Right.
So it just added a new layer of ability for the average person to make something that's funny, and highlight on funny, because interesting and cool and whatever go big on there too, but everyone enjoys the funny content the most. Yeah. I think it changed everything. I think people got more creative. I think that as such, there's more reason to be on TikTok. You'll see something more interesting without having to look for it.
Emphasis on the funny, because many songs that we see blow up online are attached to some humorous trend.
I think I like this little life. This little...
Or even a dance trend. And that's where we see changes in songwriting today. While many trends work just fine with songs that came out 5, 10, or 30 years ago, many songs now are being written with the idea of having a trend associated with it, for a catchy 15 to 30 second moment, for clever lyrics that anyone can relate to. And for some people, this is what is necessary in this age of music.
Song I put out, it doesn't accidentally have moments that sound like I'm trying to grab at a TikTok sound or a viral moment or something. It's all intentional. It's like I put that in there because I'm trying to start a trend and I'm trying to do all these, which is, some people don't like it, but I feel like you gotta, number one, nobody should tell you what to do. You gotta do it. You gotta do what you gotta do. It's so hard to be an artist, in any medium, and you gotta do, as long as it's not messing with your morals or affecting other people, you gotta do what you gotta do to build that platform so that you can make the music that you full-heartedly want to make, and then that will start to resonate with people because you will have gained their trust. You will have given them a catalog that they love and they believe in, and they but your fans are your boss. You don't have a job without them. If they're not happy, then all you're doing is screaming into the void, which is totally fine if that's what you want. But that's not what I want. I want people to hear what I am doing.
But to some, it's not what we should be doing at all. To them, this is an age of declining music and the end of good music as we know it.
You only want to hold me when I'm looking good enough. Did you ever fool me? Would you ever picture us?
TikTok pop, a term that some of you might have heard before. It's characterized with the basic sound, a lyric that might feel juvenile to some, but are overall way too relatable. They lack substance, as if the writer themselves doesn't even have any true connection to the lyrics. They are written specifically to captivate an audience. In recent years, the length of popular music has become shorter, going from 3 to 4 minute songs to 2 to 3 minutes. To put this in perspective, in 2013, only 8 songs in the Billboard Hot 100 chart were under 3 minutes. Most of the songs exceeded 3 minutes and 30 seconds, nearing 4 minutes and 30 and even 5 minutes. But in the Billboard Hot 100 chart for the end of 2023, so 10 years later, 30 out of 100 songs were under 3 minutes. I'm not trying to say that people aren't writing longer songs. That's still happening, and there are a lot of good ones out there. Nor am I saying that these shorter songs are bad. Again, there are a lot of great shorter songs out there that fall under 3 minutes. I'm just trying to point out that this is a noticeable trend that many people do attribute to the 3-minute video limit that existed on TikTok before the updated 10 minutes that we see today. Why does music nowadays feel so lackluster? Why are the lyrics so empty? Why are the songs so short? Why did TikTok make pop music suck? Except, are these things not what pop music have always been? Pop music is created primarily for commercial purposes, aimed at immediate, broad, and disparate public appeal, to make a hit. Given its commercial objectives, it is not surprising that major industry forces stand squarely and influentially behind its output and trajectory. Above all, pop music rewards previous models of success. This translates to short, predictable song forms, usually 3-minute verse-chorus structures, with simple, hooky melodies and explosive, repetitive choruses. So with this small outline of what pop music is, and what it seemingly has always been, why is it now under such scrutiny in the context of this platform, and the modern music scene in general? Especially when pop has almost always sounded like this. When it comes to this judgment towards the TikTokification of music, as some people put it, I believe we're looking at a case of institutionalism in art. The institutional theory of art, a view believed to be first endorsed by George Dickey in 1974, suggests that our views and opinions of art, so what can and cannot be considered as art, exist firmly in the context that we view it in. The space in which that art exists contributes to how we evaluate the art that we view. So how does this apply to music? Specifically with the sounds being developed in the 2020s. Well, I think this has to do with the negative idea that people have of social media, TikTok specifically. And when that negative view bleeds into any sector that app has its reach in, then of course you're going to feel some kind of way about the music developed from that app. As with other sorts of preferences, our musical preferences are also influenced by what we've experienced before, and whether the outcome of the experience was positive or negative. Heavy on the negative, because in 2020, songs like this were all the rage, doing crazy numbers. And in 2020, with all of us locked down and going through such a tumultuous event, of course, the sounds that we heard repetitively all the time are going to leave a bad taste in our mouths today. Nothing born from TikTok sounds completely new, yet it still feels that way thanks to open verse duets or suggestions from comments and video replies, and the fact that TikTok's video limit was once capped at 3 minutes. All of these factors influence the music that we listen to today.
I think it's made me more aware of like the power of like, say, a bridge or something like that, of like you listen to it and like that could get you interested in a song, in an artist.
Yeah.
So I think it's helped me for the better to like be a bit more conscious about stuff, and even in the recording and writing process, I've thought of sort of the promotion and sort of that. So I don't know. I think it's been in a good way. Like I don't think it's been like I need to write music that TikTok is going to like, but instead just thinking of like, oh, if I did adapt that, it would not only improve the music, but I also think it would be more just accessible to people.
Yeah. And yes, there is some truth to the idea that record labels and artists are using TikTok to make a little extra money. It would be foolish not to try, at least, with the reach that the app has and how quick it is for some people to get viral. Of course they're going to try. Not that TikTok makes that much money anyway.
And when we blew up on TikTok, nothing really changed. Not a whole lot happened. We just got a shit ton of followers on TikTok.
Right.
However, when Fool Me Once, we did a clickbaity, whatever the fuck series of reels, and one of those for Fool Me Once popped off. And that, on the contrary, very much changed everything. So TikTok so far hasn't really done that yet. But IG, when I say change everything, I mean like it tripled our listener base, and we've been going down steadily since then. But that push itself only was already enough to get us making enough money that I don't have to work a job yet. I mean, I'm broke as make no mistake, but I can pay my bills with music. So that wasn't a possibility before the IG reel blew up. And it's barely a possibility now with a year removed from that, and half those followers or listeners kind of go on the wayside because we haven't put anything out. Kind of lumping them together, I'd say, yeah, TikTok has changed our lives entirely. But if we're being more specific, TikTok, not so much. IG, for sure.
Different platforms can do different things. And in this day and age, might as well try to get your hands on all of them. Anyone with a smartphone may win the lottery with the right post at the right time. What does this mean? Anyone can become famous or start the trek to become famous without any credentials. And on the other side of the business spectrum, a small independent artist who just wants to dip their toes into the world of music is going to release a shorter song than usual.
I think playing to, understanding that if attention spans are short, then you play to that. I mean, it kind of makes sense, But I think the way people are writing nowadays, especially within the commercial music genre, I think that 3 minutes, that 3.5 is kind of enough. Because it becomes so, and this is, no slight to artists, but it becomes so repetitive, that it is, after a while, it's kind of like, okay, I get it, So I think maybe just the shorter songs are, a way to kind of keep people engaged.
If anything, I'd argue that the act of writing that perfectly clever lyric for a funny trend, or crafting the most satisfying 15 to 30 second moment in your song to go viral, is an artistic feat in of itself. And not many people can accomplish that. But those who do can make it work very well.
Don't ask me how I did it, I just did it, it was hard. Don't ask me how I did it, I just did it, it was hard.
Things have changed, or at the very least, we've noticed these changes much sooner because artists are in the public eye much sooner. Before we had access to the speed and reach that social media does, scouts picked up our most famous artists and signed them to a label and gave them access to finances they otherwise would not have had. And labels aren't just putting money anywhere. They had to make sure that the money they were spending would be worth it. So these artists were trained to be a particular type of performer. We now have access to releasing music in an instant, much sooner than ever before. And because of this, we now have access to so many artists right at the beginning of their journey. Not from when they first sign with a record label, but from when they first pick up that guitar and put the pen to the page. And to me, there's no reason to shame these beginnings. Because if we put them down before they have the chance to grow, no one will ever get anywhere. If their growth requires open verse duet challenges and comment suggestions, just let it happen. Let this bad art exist. Let it all out there. Whether someone wants to be heard or they just want to scream into the void, there's no reason to shame someone for being at the beginning stages of their artistic journey. I firmly believe that bad art has the right to exist and is necessary for the artist to become good artists eventually. And it applies to all kinds of art. So it really annoys me that in this age of cringe, everything and everyone has to be perfect on debut. Even if you never really improve, but your work resonates with people and brings you joy, there is no reason why you shouldn't do it and share it. It honestly doesn't matter if it's bad, if it's not the best thing you've ever heard, because at the end of the day, someone is creating something. They're trying their hand at something new. People and their creative outlets are not a waste of space and resources, no matter what is the result.
5, 6, 7, 8.
It's okay if you find new music bad. Really, it is. I'm not saying that you can't. But I also don't think that you should find any new idea and new sound and new moment born from TikTok an inherently bad thing.
I think where people get this misconstrued is that people think it's like one or the other. Like you either make the music you want to make full-heartedly, or you are bending to like what people want you to be, and that's inauthentic. And I don't think that's totally true. I feel like I kind of meet it in the middle, where I think of an idea. I think of what the marketing around something is going to be first, what the content is. And I hate that word. I hate that like we've just changed the word art to content. It's so annoying, but it's just what it is. But you think of all of that first, and then you put yourself into that. You put and then that way you've got content ideas. You've figured out what's going to resonate with people about this and all, or what you hope is going to resonate with people about this, and then you put that 50% or hopefully more of yourself into that, outline. So you don't feel like you're losing yourself to this, trying to make something go viral, right?
As with any industry, things will change once a powerful force is in the picture. And for music in the 2020s, that powerful force is TikTok. It's a scary one, and it's turned things around in communities of pretty much any genre out there. How we engage with art, whether as a creator or as an observer, has changed drastically within the past 4 to 5 years. And rather than push those things aside or wish things will go back to the way they were before, we should try to learn to embrace it. It won't stay like this forever. That's never been what music is about. It is constantly evolving and shifting and changing, inspired by the world around us and soaking it in like a sponge. While we change, so will our art. See, so many cultural factors go into the art that we create and consume today. By putting all these new advancements down, we're shutting ourselves off from new growth in any industry.
It created an entirely new ecosystem. Something as powerful as TikTok socially will do that, to any community. It's going to destabilize every kind of idea you have of how social climbing, etc. works. I think it's just changed how artists have to think about it, because it's not an adapt or die situation. It's more like culture continuously evolves.
Yeah.
The music industry and the communities within it are evolving with culture right now. And you can either remain an idea of a certain time in culture, which is just as valid to me, or you can continue to grow with your community, this or that, and try to find other ways to, grow, lack of a better phrase. Remain relevant isn't what I mean, but more so just stay a part of the community, stay an active member. You know what I mean?
So no, I don't think TikTok is all that bad. I don't think modern developments in pop music are bad. I don't think the music industry is collapsing because a young adult wants to release a 2-minute pop song that sounds like a Target commercial just for a TikTok trend. Music is not dying. It just looks a little bit different today. And if you still want to listen to the top 40 hits of 2013 and dream of the time when Macklemore was topping the Billboard charts, then be my guest. I don't blame you. But while these changes are here, we might as well try to embrace it and get ourselves ready for whatever comes next.